Welcome to the deep dive. We're really thrilled you're here with us today because we're doing some time travel.
Oh, yeah, we are going way back.
Yeah, back to late 2009. We're exploring a very specific, really fascinating moment in R&B history.
Right.
And we're doing it by unpacking a single comprehensive Wikipedia article about the song I Am, which is a major release from a defining artist of our era, Mary J. Blige.
Our goal today is to really look at the anatomy of a major music release during what was, frankly, a transitional era in the music industry.
Definitely.
Because it's so easy to look back at a song from over a decade ago and just see the chart numbers or the runtime. But through this article, we want to trace how an artist's personal and emotional evolution gets translated into a commercial product.
Yeah, into a tangible thing you can buy.
Exactly. We are going to examine the grueling machinery of late 2000s television promotion, and we'll wade into the deeply interesting world of global chart performance and remix culture. At the end of this, the architecture that goes into launching a single track is going to be incredibly apparent to you.
So just to give you a brief overview before we get into the tall grass here.
Please do.
I Am was released in late 2009. It's the lead single from her 9th studio album, which was called Stronger with Each Tear.
Right.
And reading through the article, the thing that jumps off the page immediately is that this track is defined by its supreme confidence.
Unshakable confidence.
Yeah, it represents this distinct departure from the artist's past eras. It's really a statement piece. The way the text lays out the credits, the critical reception, the Billboard data, and oh my gosh, even the bizarrely specific real estate details of the music video.
Oh, we are definitely getting to the real estate later.
We have to. But it all paints a picture of an artist stepping into a totally new phase of power.
Which is a really interesting place to start, actually. Because projecting that kind of unshakable power usually requires a remarkably sturdy foundation.
Like a strong team behind you?
Right. If we look at the genesis of the track, the songwriting credits for I Am are extensive. The song wasn't just penned by the artist alone in a dark room.
Right. It rarely is at that level.
It was written by a collaborative team of 6 people. You've got Mary J. Blige, John Austin, Esther Dean, Magnus Bate, Tor Erik Hermansen, and Mikkel Eriksen.
See, 6 writers for a deeply personal song feels, I don't know, it feels like a contradiction to me.
How so?
Well, how does a song stay personal, especially one literally titled I Am, when it goes through a committee? You'd think that many voices would just dilute the emotional core.
You'd think so, sure.
Yeah.
But in modern R&B, it's actually about distillation.
Okay.
Think of it less like a corporate committee and more like a team of architects. The production was helmed by Tor Erik Hermansen and Mikkel Eriksen, who, you might know them better under their production moniker, Stargate.
Oh, Stargate. Yeah.
For those who might not know, Stargate is this Norwegian production duo that essentially defined the sound of late 2000s American pop and R&B.
They were everywhere.
Everywhere. They brought a very clean, pristine, melodic sensibility to the genre.
Yeah.
Then you have Esther Dean on this track, who in 2009 was rapidly becoming the industry's premier hook machine.
She wrote everything.
She had this unparalleled talent for crafting melodies that would just lodge in your brain and refuse to leave. And John Austin is a veteran R&B writer who really understands the architecture of a classic soul song.
So the artist brings the emotional truth, like the raw material, and this massive team acts as the refinery.
Precisely. They are building a sonic architecture designed to support a very specific emotional weight.
Right.
When you have an artist collaborating across studios with dedicated top-line writers and powerhouse producers like Stargate, the lyrical message is debated, it's polished, and it's structured to hit the listener with maximum impact. It's engineered precision.
Engineered precision. I like that. And the emotional weight they're trying to convey here is heavy, but in a totally uplifting way.
Yeah.
The article notes the lyrical theme centers on a protagonist who confidently tells her lover that nobody can treat them better than the person they are with at the present time.
Which is bold.
It is. Think about how rare that is, to possess that grounded certainty where you can honestly say to someone, nobody can treat you better than me.
Right. And not from a place of arrogance either.
Exactly. Not arrogance, but from a place of just settled self-worth. Translating that specific, quiet confidence into a mainstream pop anthem is incredibly difficult.
It's a profound statement.
Yeah.
And conveying that level of self-assurance in a way that resonates with millions of people that requires that exact Stargate polish.
Yeah.
They have to capture an emotion that is tensely personal to the artist, but phrase it structure the chords around it, and build the rhythm so it becomes a universal anthem. When you hear the song, the music actually acts as a vehicle for transferring that optimism directly to you, the listener.
Which brings us to a fascinating part of this Wikipedia page. Because to really grasp the impact of I Am, you have to look at the critical reception section. There's a review cited from BET.com that I think serves as the absolute crux of why this song matters in the broader context of her career.
I know the exact quote you're talking about.
Yeah, the review states that the song is a perfect showcase of Mary's brighter outlook in the new millennium. And the reviewer specifically notes that, looking back at all the drama and pain of the 90s, both in her music and in her personal life, it's hard not to smile hearing her newfound confidence and optimism here.
That Beat review is doing some heavy lifting for the whole narrative.
Really is.
It explicitly asks the audience to look backward, to understand the present.
Oh.
It draws a definitive boundary line between two distinct eras of an artist's life.
Right.
On one side, you have the drama and pain of the 90s, and on the other, you have the brighter outlook of the 2000s. And that begs the question, how does an artist successfully navigate that transition? Because historically, a lot of artists build their entire brand, their entire fan connection on their struggles.
That is the million-dollar question. It's incredibly rare for a single song or even a single album cycle to act as a definitive turning point without alienating the core base.
It's super risky.
If you scroll down to the bottom of this Wikipedia article, there's an index of her singles organized chronologically by decade.
I love those tables.
They're great. And it's practically a map of her emotional journey. If you look at the 1990s singles listed, you see titles that literally spell out the pain, the BET review references. You don't have to worry, I'm going down, missing you, 7 days deep inside.
And going down is the quintessential example there.
Oh, absolutely. These are titles that suggest conflict, longing, searching, heartbreak. They are the sonic embodiment of 90s R&B angst.
They are heavy.
They're heavy, they're dramatic, and they are brilliant.
And that pain is what endeared her to millions. Fans connected with that vulnerability. They saw their own heartbreak reflected in those tracks.
Exactly.
So when an artist transitions from making art out of trauma to making art out of happiness and stability, they run an immense risk. The audience might feel left behind. Or worse, they might find the new happy material inauthentic. They might say, "You don't sound like you anymore."
But she pulls it off.
She really does.
If you look at the 2000 singles listed in that same index, you can trace the shift in her mindset through the song titles alone.
Oh, it's fascinating.
She starts the decade with No More Drama, which is a literal declaration of intent.
Yes.
It's her putting a stake in the ground. Then as the decade progresses, you move into titles like Family Affair, Rainy Days, Love at First Sight, Just Fine, Work That, Stay Down, The One. And finally, the song we are discussing today, I Am.
Just Fine, Work That, I Am. The evolution is right there in plain text. It's a highly cohesive narrative arc.
She managed to bring her audience along with her over an entire decade. She didn't just abandon the 90s angst overnight, She showed her listeners the gradual work of healing.
Right, the process.
She proved that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, that a person can realistically go from, I'm going down, to I Am. That is what the BET.com review is actually celebrating. It's not just that the Stargate production sounds pristine, it's that the person singing it has achieved a level of emotional triumph that feels earned.
Earned. Authenticity is the key word there. The audience believes the optimism of I Am because they lived through the drama of the 90s with her.
Exactly.
The confidence is hard-won. And from an industry perspective, when you have an earned narrative like that, this triumphant return of a beloved icon, it becomes a highly potent marketing tool.
Oh, for sure.
Which leads us to the sheer scale of how this song was presented to the world in late 2009.
The promotional juggernaut.
It was massive.
Having a great song with a powerful, earned message is step one. But getting the entire world to hear it in 2009 was a completely different beast.
Totally different era.
The Wikipedia article provides a chronological release and performance history that is, honestly, it's exhausting just to read.
I get tired looking at the dates.
Right. The timeline goes like this. The song was sent to Urban Radio in the week beginning November 10th, 2009. Her first live performance was at the American Music Awards on November 22. But the digital download wasn't released until December 8th.
Okay, let's unpack that timeline because it reveals a very specific late 2000s industry strategy that has largely vanished today.
Windowing.
Exactly. First, They sent it to urban radio. For those who might not know, in 2009, this was a specific industry format focusing heavily on R&B and hip-hop. It was the essential proving ground. You build a foundation with the core audience first.
Right.
Then 12 days later, you execute a sweeping primetime television performance at the AMAs.
But here's the kicker. Even after seeing that massive primetime performance, you still can't buy the song.
Which is wild to think about now.
It is. You have to wait another 16 days until December 8 to legally download it on platforms like iTunes.
They were artificially creating anticipation.
Yeah.
They were starving the market so that when the digital download finally opened up, there would be this flood of pent-up demand pushing the song up the charts. Today, with streaming, the performance and the availability are basically simultaneous. In 2009, windowing was still a vital tactic.
And once that digital floodgate opened on December 8, the media blitz that followed was staggering.
Unbelievable.
The article details the television circuit she ran, and it is a perfect snapshot of how record labels blanketed the cultural consciousness back then. I charted out her schedule from the text, and the sheer volume of appearances is wild.
Read it out.
Listen to this lineup. She performed I Am on Lopez Tonight. She did So You Think You Can Dance. She hit the Jay Leno Show and Jimmy Kimmel Live.
Wow.
She appeared on A&E's Private Sessions. She performed on The Today Show, The View, The Ellen DeGeneres Show, and The Late Show with David Letterman.
Just reading that list makes my vocal cords hurt.
Right. Oh, and when the song was released in the UK a few months later, she flew over there and performed it on Alan Carr. Chatty man.
It's the physical stamina required to execute that schedule is mind-boggling.
It's an athletic feat.
It really is. Think about the logistics. You are waking up at maybe 4 in the morning to sound check for the Today Show in New York. You're singing a high-energy R&B anthem at 8:30 in the morning while people are drinking their coffee.
Right.
Then you are likely flying across the country to Los Angeles to do a late-night comedy show like Kimmel or Leno. Then you're performing on a highly choreographed reality competition show, like So You Think You Can Dance.
Which is a totally different audience.
Exactly. You're constantly shifting gears, shifting energies, interacting with different hosts to perform the exact same 3.5-minute song over and over again. And you have to make it look fresh and effortless every single time.
It's a highly calculated carpet bombing of the American viewing public.
It really was.
Because it wasn't just about hitting the biggest shows, it was about hitting every specific demographic. The View and the Ellen DeGeneres Show captured the daytime, largely female audience.
Yep.
The Today Show hit the morning commuters and stay-at-home parents. Leno, Letterman, and Kimmel were fighting over the late-night crowd. Lopez Tonight brought in a younger, more diverse late-night audience. So You Think You Can Dance appealed to reality TV fans, and Private Sessions on A&E captured an older, more music nerd demographic.
Covering all the bases.
Literally nowhere you could turn your television in late 2009 without seeing a performance of I Am.
Which tells us so much about the state of the media in that specific year. YouTube was growing, definitely, and digital downloads were dominating, but the industry still heavily relied on the monoculture of broadcast television to break a hit.
Yeah, TV was still king.
Social media was around, Twitter was gaining traction, sure, but it wasn't the sole engine of discovery like TikTok is today. If you wanted to guarantee that tens of millions of people heard your song, you couldn't just post a viral dance. You had to physically stand on the stages of daytime talk shows and late-night comedy desks. It was a brute force approach to promotion.
She was projecting this confidence live on television every single day for months. But, you know, TV appearances are fleeting. You watch them once, maybe catch a rerun, and they're gone.
True.
The label needed a permanent visual monument to this new era of optimism. They needed something that would live on Vivo and MTV forever. Which brings us to the music video.
Ah, yes. The visual translation of an era. The article notes the music video was directed by Anthony Mandler. And it's no coincidence they brought him in. He had just done the visuals for her other 2009 singles, The One and Stronger.
That implies a really cohesive visual strategy for the entire Stronger with Each Tear album campaign.
Very deliberate.
They trusted one director to set the aesthetic tone for this entire new era, rather than bouncing between different visionary directors with conflicting styles.
Exactly. Mandler understood the assignment. The video premiered on Vivo on December 8, 2009, coordinating perfectly with that artificial digital download release date we talked about earlier.
But this is where the Wikipedia article gets wonderfully, almost hilariously specific.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
When detailing the filming locations, the text notes it was filmed in various locations throughout Somis, California. The coastline, sure, standard music video stuff. But then there's this absolute gem of a detail.
Let's hear it.
It states the video was filmed, quote, in particular at the 10,000 square foot L-shaped sharp residence that had been completed in 2005.
I love the internet.
It is so good.
I love that some anonymous Wikipedia editor cared deeply enough to input the exact square footage, the architectural footprint, the name of the owners, and the completion year of the house used for a one-day music video shoot.
It reads like an Architectural Digest poll, quote, somehow landed in the middle of an R&B song's wiki page.
It really does.
And actually, if you look at the references cited at the bottom of the article, one of the citations is literally an Architectural Digest piece from April 2008 titled Open Audition California, Selected Designs. Some editor cross-referenced an architecture magazine to flesh out this music video section.
It's a hilarious quirk of crowdsourced information.
Yeah.
But honestly, even though Mary J. Blige probably wasn't sitting in a pitch meeting demanding an L-shaped residence completed in exactly 2005,
Right.
the aesthetic of that house does perfectly serve the message of the song.
It really does fit the vibe.
Yeah.
Because think about the visual language of 90s R&B pain we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
When an artist is singing about heartbreak and drama, you often expect a music video set in a gritty urban landscape, a cramped apartment, a rainy street corner, or a dark, moody club.
Dimly lit.
Yeah. The visual language of pain is often constricted and dark.
But I Am is about stepping into your power. So the location scout finds a brand new, sprawling 10,000 square foot modern mansion on the coast of California. It has clean lines, massive windows, wide open spaces.
It's expansive.
Expansive. It's the architectural embodiment of leaving the past behind and building a new, luxurious, stable life. The confident visual aesthetic perfectly matches the song's lyrical message of supreme self-worth.
So we have the Stargate production, the exhausting TV promo tour, and the sprawling architectural music video, all working in tandem to deliver one cohesive idea.
A masterclass in branding.
Truly. But as with all major campaigns, the way the audience receives it isn't always a monolith. Let's look at the chart performance, because the data in the article revealed a pretty interesting split in how this song was consumed.
The chart section is incredibly revealing. You might assume that with a sweeping television blitz across every major network, this song would be an automatic top 10 mainstream pop hit.
You would think so.
But the numbers show something much more nuanced. The song debuted at number 67 on the U.S. Billboard Hot 100 in the week ending December 26, 2009. And it eventually peaked on the Hot 100 at number 55.
Number 55 on the Hot 100. For a superstar of her caliber, and given the massive push we just detailed, that might seem surprisingly low for the main pop chart. Why didn't it chart higher there?
Well, it really speaks to what mainstream pop radio was playing in late 2009.
Ah, the context.
Right, that was the era of peak Lady Gaga, the Black Eyed Peas, I Got a Feeling, and a lot of heavy auto-tune club tracks.
Very synth-heavy.
Exactly. A mid-tempo, mature R&B anthem about stable relationships was fighting a real uphill battle against highly synthesized dance pop. However, the Hot 100 is only one metric. The text goes on to explain that it was an absolute smash hit on specific genre charts.
Right.
It reached number 4 on the Hot R&B Hip-Hop Songs chart, and even more impressively, it went all the way to number 1 on the Adult R&B Songs chart.
Adult R&B is a very specific radio format.
It is. It caters to an older, more established demographic. And Billboard even ranked I Am as the 12th biggest song of the entire year on their 2010 year-end Adult R&B chart.
That tells you that while the teenage pop audience might have only given it a passing glance, the core R&B audience, the people who had been with her through the 90s, the people who understood the weight of that BAT review,
They got it.
they completely devoured this song. It became an anthem for that demographic. It's a perfect example of targeted cultural impact versus just a generalized pop hit.
But the label wasn't content to just win the adult R&B demographic. They wanted the clubs, too.
Oh, they always want the clubs.
They do. The article notes that the song reached number 3 on the U.S. Dance Club Songs chart.
Which feels wild on the surface. How does a mature, mid-tempo Stargate R&B track become a top 3 hit in sweaty nightclubs?
The answer lies in the track listing section of our document. It highlights the remix ecosystem of the late 2000s.
Let's break that down. The track lists showed 2 distinct physical and digital products. First, there's the UK CD single, which is very traditional. It features the standard album version of I Am, clocking in at 3 minutes and 23 seconds, alongside an instrumental version.
Standard issue.
Right. But then there is the digital remix single, and this is where the strategy to conquer the dance floor becomes really obvious.
The digital remix single features 4 distinct tracks, all heavily altering the original. You have 2 remixes by David Audé, a club remix and a radio remix. And you have 2 remixes by Boy Baxter, again, a club remix and a radio remix. Understand the shift, you just have to look at the lengths of these tracks. The David Audé club remix is 6 minutes and 28 seconds long. The Boy Baxter club remix is 5 minutes and 42 seconds long.
A 6.5-minute track. That is a completely different listening experience from the 3-minute Stargate pop version.
Entirely different. David Audé is a legendary remixer.
He's huge.
What he does is he takes a tightly constructed R&B vocal, strips away the original mid-tempo production, and speeds up the vocal track slightly. Then he builds an entirely new instrumental underneath it.
Right.
He adds what we call 4-on-the-floor kick drums, that steady, heavy, pulsating bass beat that physically forces you to move on a dance floor. He adds extended instrumental intros and hypnotic synthesizer breakdowns so DJs have time to mix the track seamlessly into their sets.
By employing producers like Audé and Baxter, the label deliberately built a bridge from the adult R&B radio stations straight to the nightclub dance floors.
Yes.
It was a highly conscious strategy. That number 3 peak on the Dance Club Songs chart wasn't an accident or an organic groundswell. It was engineered by releasing that specific digital remix package.
It demonstrates a very sophisticated understanding of how different audiences consume music. The person buying the CD single in the UK wants the pristine vocals and the emotional resonance. The DJ in a New York club needs the 6-minute Audé mix to keep the energy up at 2 in the morning. By providing both, the artist maximizes their footprint across entirely different subcultures.
Speaking of footprints, the global reach of this song is another really interesting layer. A message of self-worth isn't strictly an American concept.
No, not at all.
The weekly charts listed show a truly international presence. In Canada, it hit 96. On the European Hot 100 singles chart, it reached 95. In Scotland, it hit 69. But then you look further east. On the South Korea International chart, it reached number 28. And on the Japan Hot 100, it went all the way up to number 11.
That peak in Japan is fantastic.
It's so high.
Number 11 on the Japan Hot 100 demonstrates how a deeply personal message, rooted in the specific context of an American artist's life journey from the 90s to the 2000s, can completely transcend language and cultural barriers. The sonic confidence crafted by Stargate, combined with the raw power of the vocal delivery, it translates universally. You don't necessarily need to know her entire backstory to feel the triumph in that track.
Now, as we are looking at these international charts, there is a fun little contradiction in the Wikipedia text that I have to point out. It's a great example of the messy reality of crowdsourced history.
Oh, I noticed this too.
If you read the prose in the chart performance section, it says, quote, "In the United Kingdom, I Am entered and peaked on the UK singles chart at number 24 on March 7, 2010.
Okay, number 24. A solid top 40 hit in the UK.
Right. But if you scroll down just a little bit to the actual data table labeled weekly chart performance, you'll find a row for the UK singles chart. And in that table, the peak position listed is 34.
Ah, the classic wiki discrepancy. So the text claims a peak of 24, but the data table claims a peak of 34.
Exactly. It's right there in the same document. Was it 24 or 34?
Who knows?
It's a playful reminder that behind every polished article is a crowd of human editors, sometimes updating different sections at different times, pulling from different archival sources. The history of a song is often messy, both in its creation and in how we record it.
Very true.
Whether it was 24 or 34, what we know for sure is that the song made a dent in the UK market, especially considering she flew over to perform it on Alan Carr, Chatty Man, right around the time it was peaking over there.
The promo never stops.
Never.
The machinery just keeps churning.
And that brings us full circle to the broader implications of what we've been discussing today. The story of I Am, as laid out in this article, is so much more than a list of chart numbers and producer credits.
It's huge.
It's a masterclass in collaboration. It's the story of a diverse team of writers and producers coming together to distill a deeply personal emotional shift into a highly structured pop anthem. It's the story of a turning point in a personal narrative. We explored how an artist successfully navigated the really dangerous transition from building a brand on the angst of the 90s to embracing a brighter outlook in the 2000s.
Yeah.
We saw how this specific song served as the definitive boundary line between those two eras without losing the authenticity her fans demanded.
We also examined the song as a case study in exhaustive late 2000s television promotion. The relentless schedule across morning shows, daytime talk, and late-night comedy reveals a music industry that still heavily relied on the monolithic power of broadcast TV to reach every conceivable demographic, utilizing windowing strategies to artificially drive up digital demand.
We broke down the multi-format chart success and the remix ecosystem. We saw how a song could peak at 55 on the Hot 100, but simultaneously dominate the adult R&B charts and conquer the dance clubs thanks to strategic 6-minute, 4-on-the-floor digital remixes by producers like David Audé. And, of course, we can't forget the architectural aesthetic of filming in a sprawling, modern, L-shaped mansion to visually cement this new era of expansive confidence.
Completed in 2005, let's not forget.
Never forget.
The takeaway here is that every piece of media you consume, every 3-minute song on your playlist, every music video you stream, every performance you catch on late-night TV, it has a sprawling, hidden architecture behind it.
There's so much going on behind the scenes.
There are producers agonizing over the synthesizer tone. There are publicists booking grueling cross-country flights. There are directors scouting specific architectural footprints to match the lyrical subtext. And there are remixers tearing the song apart to rebuild it for a completely different environment.
It's a highly coordinated effort by dozens of professionals to make you feel a single, pure emotion. In this case, that emotion was absolute, unshakable confidence. And that leads me to a final thought I want to leave you with today. We've talked about how this artist had to rebuild her creative machinery to reflect her newfound optimism.
Yeah.
She had to find new collaborators like Stargate. She had to pivot her visual style. She had to commission new dance remixes. It takes deliberate work to shed your past pain and project a brighter outlook.
It takes intentional construction. You can't just flip a switch. You have to build the environment and assemble the team that supports the new version of you.
Exactly. So, based on the journey we just unpacked, ask yourself, if you were to write an anthem for your current era of life, who would be on your production team?
I like that.
Who are the specific people you would trust to help you refine your message? And taking a cue from that incredibly detailed Wikipedia editor, what kind of 10,000 square foot metaphorical house would you film your video in to show the world exactly who you are right now?
The architecture of your life is yours to design.
We want to thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the making, the meaning, and the mechanics of a 2009 R&B classic. It's been an absolute pleasure unpacking this with you. Until next time, keep exploring the hidden structures behind the art you love, and as always, stay curious.